Just keeps getting better. Harriet Witt, Farmer's Almanac. We are.
Let's give it up for Harriet. Come
on. Most of you know that by this time tomorrow we will be more than 1.5 million miles from where we are now, thanks to the orbiting of our planet around the sun. And if our planet were not orbiting, we wouldn't have years. If we were not tilted to the plane of our yearly orbit, we wouldn't have seasons. If we were not spinning around our axis, we wouldn't have days and nights. And if the moon were not orbiting us, we wouldn't have moons, or months, as we now call them. A month is a month is a month. Originally, our calendar months were actual moons, the time that it takes the moon to go around us. But some unfortunate calendar reforms have given us months that are nothing but pieces of paper. This is tragic because the lunar cycle is really powerful. All the feeding and breeding in the ocean is following the lunar cycle, and of course a woman's menstrual cycle is synchronized with it. This is a huge topic. It's something we'll be talking about at another time. So for now, I just want to kind of summarize. We wouldn't have years if we weren't orbiting. We wouldn't have seasons if we weren't tilted to the plane of our orbit. We wouldn't have days and nights if we weren't spinning around our axis. We wouldn't have moons if the moon were not orbiting us, months. And we wouldn't have weeks if the moon didn't go through phases. So all of this is time, but you're probably wondering why Harriet is standing up here and expecting you to listen to a lecture on a topic as boring as time. Time is so dull. Who wants to hear about time? But when you think about it, you realize that these time cycles that we're talking about are actually cycles of light and darkness. Day and night, summer and winter, full moon and new moon. So we're talking about cycles of light. And light becomes life through photosynthesis. Plants absorb the sunlight and they transform it into life. Light incarnates through plants. And those of us who are growing food are constantly marveling at all the ways that light can incarnate into twigs, leaves, branches, fruits, vegetables, timber. The list goes on. So if you ask a scientist what time is, the scientist will tell you about the arrow of time, straight line. If you ask a historian what time is, the historian will tell you about the timeline. Okay? And the timeline flattens nature's cycles. Once you flatten nature's cycles, you no longer have any opportunity to recycle, renew, refresh yourself, recharge yourself, or reinvent yourself. If time were a straight line, then a day in January would be no different than a day in July. So here we are with an entire culture based on this totally flat, unnatural line that is driving us relentlessly forward on an expressway to exhaustion. How did we get on this expressway to exhaustion? Where did we ever get the idea that time is a straight line? We got the idea from a guy named Euclid who lived in Greece 2,500 years ago. He developed Euclidean geometry. We all studied it in high school. Squares, parallelograms, trapezoids, that kind of stuff. Euclid's geometry was so popular that his geometry textbook sold more copies than any other book except the Bible until the 19th century. It became the basis of classical science. And so as the basis of classical science, you kind of get the picture. So here we are on this expressway to exhaustion because Euclid told us that a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points. Now a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points if you live on a flat Earth. You could thought we lived on a flat Earth, okay? Basis of classical science. And the shortest distance between two lines on a round Earth is a geodesic. Okay? So here we are on this expressway to exhaustion, which is a concept based on the assumption that we're living on a flat Earth. Fortunately, we still have farmers and almanacs. If you look at a farmer's almanac, you'll see that time is not presented as a straight line. Farmer's almanacs are showing us time is our rhythmical relationship with the sun and the moon. Time is the rhythms of light's availability. Time is the rhythms of life, the kind of time that the farmer's almanacs are keeping alive for us. Thank God for farmer's almanacs. So I've been so inspired by what farmer's almanacs are keeping alive for us that I created a farmer's almanac for Radio PO a couple of years ago, 52 radio programs for Radio PO. And thanks to Lehua, where's Lehua? There you are. Thanks to Lehua, we're putting the 52 radio almanacs on our farmer's website. The first three are up there. And I have no idea why I'm doing this, but I'm just trusting that because farmers' almanacs are preserving a kind of time that is life-giving rather than life-destroying, it might help us all get back in touch with a kind of time that's life-giving. Thank you.